A Wind Named Amnesia. Oh boy. So the creator of Vampire Hunter D, after seeing Wicked City, let Madhouse make a ton of other adaptations of his work. Now some were great. This not so much.
Hit the turret. Aim for the turret. That's the nerve center.
Damn, I guess that's how you beat in Metal Gear, huh? So there was like a deadly dumbness wind that destroyed society. It's a very goofy sci-fi concept, and from what I hear from Frank Patton, it was not even an original concept. It was taken from a novel, an old novel from the 30s. This is reported to be a movie, but I'm also told it's an OVA, so I don't know if it's got a limited release or if it's been categorized wrong. And if it's been categorized wrong, I'm kind of annoyed. It's an OVA, like stylistically. I mean, it's the size of a movie, but it acts like an OVA. It's a very boilerplate OVA. I'm sure there's some ideas there, and there is. The concept of humanity learning over and some stuff with Johnny of the wheelchair variety. Some of that's interesting, I guess. But the way it's been dubbed, again, wouldn't recommend the dub. It's pretty horrible, pretty goofy. It's just bait for like making fun of. It's so easy. So easy that I can't be bothered to do it. I don't have anything of substance to say about its plot and science fiction. Wataru, meaning traveler, receives this mission to save a world that has forgot America. To go across the country, like a cross-country mission to just, save the whole country. It sounds like another kind of big release this year. Has the bubble burst here? Has the OVA era bubble burst in late 1990? The money's drying up, we're about to crash next year. This animation is not exactly on par with the stuff we saw in the 80s. There's some areas where it's pretty fine, but it feels a little bit more stilted, a little bit more lacking in content. It's been directed by someone not that we've seen in the studio before, someone actually from Kitty Films, worked on a lot of Urusei Yatsura and other situations like that from the 80s. Not a man that was known for doing movies. Now, since you know what pedigree this is from, expect nudity and violence, blood and gore, and some sort of message that's perhaps a little too overambitious for its own content. The plot here really is just an excuse for them to do post-apocalyptic mayhem. Savages, cavemen style ideas of worshipping gods and people that can't do anything. It sounds like an interesting context for an episodic show, but it's actually a 1 hour and 15 minute movie. Everything here is mostly fine. It's mostly fine. The music sometimes sounds a bit MIDI, gets a little Sega CD, but it's okay. The character designs, they're alright, I guess. We're starting to get a bit 90s, even though it's early times now. I feel like the close-ups here are starting to define a style of animation we'd see continue for the rest of the decade. Though occasionally in the further away shots, there's a bit of a mix here. Sometimes it's Legend of the Galactic Heroes, other times maybe it's Slayer or something like that. There's about 3 different kind of concepts played with here. The utopian authoritarianism, post-apocalyptic future, and aliens. Yes. Because it was all aliens. This was all aliens doing. I know I'm ruining it, but I mean, there wasn't much to ruin. They kind of imply it earlier on that it was going to be something like aliens. Yes, aliens did it all because they thought man was too violent or something. You know how these stories go. Like cautionary tales. Don't be too violent or aliens will come down and remove your ability to think critically. Like it makes it alright or something. Humans bad, aggressive. Now they are bad and aggressive but dumb. That makes everything better. And yeah, I think this would definitely work better as a novel because it feels like 5 different compartments of a story stitched together. Johnny's story, the man in the wheelchair, probably the most interesting part. I like that sort of bromance. The story of like a false god and sacrificial stuff. It's just very typical. Just very typical, like, oh, we got to sacrifice the girl to please the god. Like, I don't care. I just don't care. And in the end, Wataru shoots a guy in the head who was controlling it. Who cares? Whatever. The utopian city. That's not so utopian after all. Could have seen that one coming. The twist with the aliens. And then finally a climactic action scene with this robot that happened to have been chasing the protagonist the whole time to keep them on the road. And that part, it was cool. Really stupid and silly, but kind of to the point, isn't it? He somehow survives, and then what happens then? What happens then? A caressing, loving sex scene that saves the world, maybe. Yep, that's the ending. Yep, that's totally what I could have expected from who wrote this, but the way it's presented is so weird, especially after she told him about her master plan and that she's kind of killed and destroyed his whole human race. He's like, yeah, I can get behind this. Even though I don't even know if he understands such concepts by that point. Mentally, he's still kind of young. I mean, I guess he's came a long way, but like mentally last time we kept him, he was maybe like a 13, 14-year-old. So, I don't know about that, but okay. I mean, it's not the worst thing they've done. This was supposed to be a popular OVA in the English territories. Can't say I understand why. Such is the case, I guess, with some of this stuff. I don't really find the ideas that interesting. What if everyone went feral? Ooh, that would make everyone happy, right? Because ignorance is bliss, which I just hate as a concept. The idea that the collapse of society, healthcare, security, easily accessible food is just going to make everyone happy. That living like animals suddenly makes us all just keen and perky as possible. Perhaps it's just the idea that you don't have time to think about existential depression and modern worries when you're just trying to survive. Doesn't necessarily make it better, does it? And it's not even like these societies are peaceful. They're kind of horrifically tragic. No one's living a peace-trodden life of like social hierarchy, hanging out together, just getting... But maybe they are. Maybe in some states they are, but we don't get to see those states. And the reaction from the main character is so nonchalant through the whole thing, especially when he's given the big reveals. The concept is really thin, and you only get to see 3 states of 50. Can it really be a bet for 50 states if we don't see any of that? But again, I guess I can't blame the film for being, short. At least it was short. But I suppose this could have been a TV show, and that would have been a better outcome for what they're trying to do. Some have compared it to like Galaxy Express. You could go through each 50 states, and I guess the other thing to bring up is Japanese people inferring American stuff, which can be fun, but usually comes off as nothing more than window dressing. This could be Japan, and it wouldn't make too much of a difference. At least here in the anime. I wouldn't recommend it, let's put it that way. And from now on, I think I'm going to be a bit more selective about my final choices. I'm probably only going to do 5 more videos this month because it's Christmas and, it starts to wear down on you making this many videos. I want the last ones to be ones that I can respect and feel good about. Some of the ideas of future releases from Madhouse may even become different videos down the line, where I want to spend a lot more time on them and really give them what I think they deserve. OVA fodder, want another one of those. Anyway, thank you to my Patreons. Special thanks, Joven. I'll see you all next time.